I am Eon. Welcome to March 2025 SciFi 3D Printing Review number 1. It is Sunday, March the 16th as I record this, just in case anyone watches and says, hey, why didn't you include this? Let's get going. I'm a little bit behind this month. Sorry about that. We're going to introduce Second Dynasty, who has been around for quite a while, but they have a tribe, and I don't know that I actually realized that. So for about $5 you get a couple of tiles as well as the smallest space shuttle that they make. This is a Gridforge tier. You get articulated turret remix, and this right here is the coattail. It's a type of Kurdish word for potato, and it's the smallest shuttle that still has a full 3x3 empty space that you can put open lock tiles or Gridforge and build out your shuttle. 3D Art Guy is doing some sci-fi stuff this month. Let's take a look. Killzone Soldiers, Assault Trooper and Sniper. A Covenant Elite Warrior. I don't know what else to call him, but Master Chief. This is Hover Bikes and Bikes, and I'm pretty impressed by this thing. There's a lot going on. And then this is apparently the Guy, a mascot for the band Disturbed. This is a year loyalty reward for 3D Art Guy. Across the Realms is bringing us with these Eldar Exiles Volume 2. They will also have some not so safe for work versions of these available for you as well. Admiral Apocalypse is continuing along the roadmap. Notice we are now in March, so Sewer Volume 2, and we see some rats are coming along, of course. What's a sewer without some rats? As well as some rusted pipes and bone piles and other little bits. I think a lot of this is still a work in progress, not to mention reading the graphic there. Aether Studios is doing several different things. It's always hard to keep track of everything they do because they do so much. Here's the Dune Waste Catamaran. Love the fact that it's advertised as an easy 5-print assembly, as well as some new planetoid surface tiles and some trench to bunker transition pieces. Anvil Digital Forge has Special Forces 2 heavies and some British Space Force Stormtrooper loyalty rewards. Some Special Forces 2 heavies, and these come in lots of various modular options. I like the way they colorize things just to kind of show the differences between everything. Arcane Whiskers is doing Mountain Pass Pack. We have the Antares 5 Wilderness, as well as some Hagstone Monoliths. There's a Corrupted Antiviral. This is a digital Ophanum, and this is a digital Seraphim. And there's another one in just a minute. Again, we have some more bridge cliffs, and these are modular. I like the fact that they show you how they join together with what looks to be an open lock or clip. Here we have some weather-worn spires and some various rocks and boulders. I have to love the fact that we print these things instead of just going out into nature and grabbing one and putting it on the table. Well, some of us do, I'm sure. Here's a Corrupted Antiviral, and there is the Digital Ophanum, a Corrupted Antiviral as well. Digital Seraphim. Oh, so that's the back end of the Seraphim. I apologize, I'm just now realizing that. Archvillain Games is doing the Atom Core Conclave for Sci-Fi this month. So we have the Atom Core Bishop. He is zoomed in a little bit on the left. Here we have the Atom Core Fortress. This is a modular piece. so it can be put together a few different ways. Here we have an Atom Core Deacon and an Atom Core Scanner. There's render number 1, as well as variant number 2 and 3. 4 and 5 as well. Atom Core Sentinels, versions 1 and 2. And then we have some Vanguard. Five sculpts of those guys. And here's the Deacon with the 2 Sentinels. Does not look like he's here to play. Atlan Forge has put out the Thunder Fury gunship. You can see it has several different weapon options to be put there. You're not supposed to put all of those guns on there, of course. And there's the back end. Just to show how, again, the different weapon options and how it is assembled. This is a heavy weapon Shark Knight squad, which, as I was putting this together, was just coming into preview. Bad Tusk Games has a drone pilot, so we see some early render art on the right and more current render on the left. BattleYak Miniatures is doing the historical release. We have Boyan Gallic Warriors, Gallic Galich. Sorry, I'm not familiar with that word. Gallic Gasetai, Napoleonic Portuguese Artillery, Napoleonic Portuguese Cavalry, Napoleonic Portuguese Infantry. So if you want to do your Ancients, you want to do your Napoleonics, or if you want to come a little more modern with World War II, here we see the French Heavy Machine Gun and the French HQ, including medics and communications, all the things. Here we have some French infantry. And French Char B1 Bis. Some nice looking tanks. I'm curious why the treads are down on the one on the left. Is that just to show how they get put together, or I don't know. BattleYak Miniatures kind of more does fantasy usually, but this month it's more of a sci-fi release. So we have the Eldar Starweavers, the Infinite Strands. We do have a free miniature if you join to that tier. I'm not 100% sure on the way to do that. But here's the March Battle Pack. Here's another view of the March Battle Pack, along with a list of all the miniatures that you get. These are Strand Walkers. Silent Siren Strand Walkers, Crushing Crayfish Strand Walkers, Magma Dragoon Strand Walkers, various options and bits. Here we have the Incarnate of the Weave. Where's your wig on the left? Definitely a different look. Of course, this is a modular figure. And we have some bases if you want to continue the Spider-E theme. In addition, these are the Cosmic Crab Strand Walkers. So this is a pretty full release. If you have any interest in Eldar adjacent armies, definitely worth checking out BattleYak this month. Beyond Space has put out release number 1, Night Lord Balthazar. Release number 2 is Knight General Harkin. And release number 3 is the Lorien Armory Pack Volume 2. Bulkamancer has put out some sculpts, and these tend towards fantasy and various things. So here we have the Sly Mage. Not exactly sci-fi, but bear with me. Here we have the Red-Haired Enchantress. And here we have an Intergalactic Bounty Hunter. And I'm assuming most of you are like me and know who this is inspired by. I imagine she's looking to hunt Mother Brain. Claudio Casini Art is kind of difficult to really get good images of. There's a shoulder-mounted missile launcher, and pretty sure that's for this month. Custom Miniature Maker has got some Grimdark ruined temple furniture. It seems to be something growing there. Custom Miniature Maker is mostly about these texture rolls. So you take a piece of clay and you roll these textures. Let's see what the textures are this month. I did not write down the official names for these, but these are like, you know, steel tiles. And here we have some walls, bulwarks, what have you. And if the doors are starting to open, it looks like they're starting to corrupt a little. And these floors even are starting to get corrupted, infested with something. It's getting worse. Now remember, when you do this, they also have these models as well that you can print off and use it to cut out and make your own custom bases as well, so that no two bases are ever exactly alike, which is a pretty cool idea. And here it looks like we have pretty much lost. It's all infested now. Custom Miniature Maker also put out about this dice case, which I think, regardless of what you play, you could use, and as well as some pipes. Now my question here is, did something get in or did something get out? As well as some rock formations that can be printed as well. Skullforge Studios is doing Grim Realms and Titan City stories. We looked at these in the preview. Let's look again. Here for the city stories, we have Hell's Kitchen. Here's Vanessa QA, I believe that is. Here's Chef Bolton and Morgan Chrome. I think that's a mask on Morgan. At least I hope it is. Waiter's staff and some civilians. For the armies, we have the Vetus Imperium, or Vetus Imperium, if we go with the proper Latin, Ajax Milo Fidelis, Optimus Custodes, and these come with a couple of different weapon and, well, shield options in that case. Here we have Brother Virtus, as well as some terrain. I really like the close-up on this terrain to really show you what we're looking at here. Again, we have some Grid Runner terrain, as well as Cyberstash. This is the last month of Cyberstash. This is the final month. So I do bid you adieu, Cyberstash. We hope to see you again. Here we have Elsie Dusty Echoes and some Outback Bush Rangers. In typical Cyberstash fashion, you get two versions of Dusty. You get kind of a standalone figure, as well as like an action pose / diorama. You also get a prop, which is her Ranger badge, which I think looks pretty cool. She also comes with a face alternative with a breather mask. But the detail that Nerixon and DM Stash were able to put together for this, for Cyber Stash, were just always impressing. Extremely impressive. And if I left out a creator there, I apologize. Here are the Bushwhack soldiers as well. Again, very nice miniatures. Dakka Dakka, I always say that a little bit too slowly, sorry. Dakka Dakka is doing Witnesses of the Cosmic Harvester. There's a list of everything if you want to hit pause. Here's the Colossus Squad and Agradrax the Forge Fire, Lieutenant Argus Saros, and an Ignisaurus Clan Team Pulsarum. We have some Ancient Mine Rats. Oh, let those out. We have an Infantry Battle Tank LR7 and a Patroclus Mountain Rider. It's a work in progress at this time. The Harvester's Angels. Not sure what MC stands for there. Motorcade, maybe? Overseer of the Harvester's Angels. And here again are the Harvester's Angels. Notice they come on bikes or quads, what have you. There's also the loyalty rewards of the Orc Slayer's Commander. Looks like she comes with a couple of different head sculpts, maybe. Dungeons and Dreadnoughts has a Kickstarter that is out right now, the Cyber Samurai Dynasty 2 Rise of the Dreadnoughts, and there's just a graphic of what you get there. I didn't really see anything sci-fi here to include. They have put out some renders, but I put those in the fantasy video, or will put those in the fantasy video. Edge Miniatures does both 8mm tiny scale and 32mm normal scale. Here we see the Skyborn Scavengers. Here we see the Skyborn Scavengers over on the right and all the different ones you get. The Tech Pirates on the left, these are Storm Riders. Tech Pirates also come with some weapon loadouts. Here the Sky Ripper's stealth suit for the Skyborn Scavengers. This is a Sky Ripper's Flamer, and how the wings, the various options of the wings for these Skyborn. For the 8mm Epic Army scale, we have Cursed Elves. These are speed freaks, and the Tech Elves come with a Fighter Air Transport. They also have another one, which is a Heavy Air Transport. And these are some of the prints of the Epic miniatures, the 8mm, which I always find interesting to see. EightLegs Miniatures has the Bloody Skulls Skullgate, and that's all I've noticed from them right now. Forbidden Prince has a pretty epic 100 STL's Ruins of the Empire, so pretty decent deal for some Grimdark future terrain. These can be put together in multiple sizes, multiple formats, usually two-tiered for various cover options. You can use as many of these or as few of these as you want. Gaz Minis was recommended to me, so let's take a look. These were kind of difficult to put as fantasy or sci-fi. And these right here are kind of fantasy, but then they kind of lean towards sci-fi. Notice these minis do come in several different options, which are listed in the graphic here. Here we have a mech pilot, Nova. It's a different looking mech. And Siblings of Combat, Remorsia Constructs. That was body A, this is body B, and there's also a body C. Ghamak has put out their image for the month of March. And I apologize, I did not really find any good notes to take there. I probably should have looked something up more, but Kyoushuneko Miniatures this month is continuing with the Finnish Army. I believe they're continuing. I think we've been there before, have we not? Here we have a flamethrower team and an LMG. What is that, light machine gun? Here we have an LMG team and an MMG team. And an HMG team. I guess light, medium, and heavy. Loot Studios for the month of March is doing Backbite Cantina. I would highly encourage you to go watch their video, because that cantina piece of terrain can be put together in multiple ways, however you want to put it together. So you can really get as big as you want, or as small as you want, as complete as you want, or as open and playable as you want as well. For the heroes, we have Captain Zeller, Durov, the Mischief Brothers, and Star Rider Maeve Emery. For the enemies, we have Valet and Aberrant Watcher, Softy, Chrome Fist Malice, Umbra, Thalor Assassin, Igak Vermillion Boozer, Cantina Sentinel, Vagabond Droid, Ukon the Bounty Hunter, Grick, Morphling Silencer, as well as a Beetlejuician Star. Do they all have to be enemies, or could they just be misunderstood? For the environment, we have things to add to the cantina, such as a gaming table. I was going to say gambling table, but it could be either way. A cantina chair, a resource pod, barista's bar, as well as a hacker hollow, I guess you would say it. For the busts, we have EX3R, Captain Zeller, the Sentinel, and Umbra. And for the prop, we have this Alien Eye bottle holder. Perfect way of keeping things chill at the local cantina. The Maker's Cult has released part 1 of March, and I'm pretty interested in this release. Here we have the OG Immortals Bannerman and the OG Wraith Dropship. I thought this was a pretty cool effect. Here is another image of it. Here we have the Primus Skyon Raider Squad. And a little bit more up close. The horns on those things are pretty impressive. There's 2 versions of this barge. I believe this is the Apocalypse barge. Notice it has a heavy weapon there. And I believe this is the Warrior barge, because there's a bunch of warriors on it. That's my logic, at least. This I thought was really interesting. I don't know much about this, but it said the Porto Battle sample files. And if you look at this and take a moment here, you can tell it's designed to be like a small portable game where the pieces can be moved around block by block. A little bit on the simpler side, but again, it looks to be portable. So I'm curious I don't know if they've done anything about this. I've been following for a few months and have not seen anything. Mantic Vault has put out all of this for the month of March. We actually have a pretty good mix of sci-fi and fantasy, I think. A little bit more on the fantasy side this month, but that's fine. Sci-fi bases, Scrapyard. These are 25mm round bases. These are 40mm rounds and 160mm round. For Dead Zone, we have some heads of the Marauders. These are orcs, if you can't tell. In addition, there are some upgrades for the Ripper, as well as Marauder upgrade packs in general. Again, Mantic seems to do more along the lines of, hey, these are upgrades, not complete minis. Well, sometimes. Here we have Marchen Atelier, and we have Grimdark Cuteness. I'm having a lot of difficulty getting their miniature factory page loaded for me. That might just be on my end. But again, definitely a different take on our Grimdark future. Miniatureland just put out stuff today, so I'm kind of glad that they just put this out. We have the Old Trench Bunker. Most of their releases are fantasy, and you'll see them over in the fantasy video. Mr. Modulork has put out their free tier model, which is very kind of Mr. Modulork. Here we have release 1 of 5. This is the Orcs Wagon Dragster. I always feel awkward emphasizing the A. Here's version 2 and version 3. It's one release, but there's at least 3 different versions of it. For release 2, we get Fistas. And I feel really bad for these guys because I'm hoping that their hands are inside of those apparatuses. They are, right? Well, this guy's got a couple of hands on his, at least. Yeah. We also have a re-release of Scarhead's A. One Page Rules has put out a lot of more Human Defense Force for the month of March. Here are the March releases as I can find them for the moment. I do believe they have some delays on some things. Not sure if that's the heavy tank or not. For war fleets, we have the Empire Fleet. And these are all, again, for Human Defense Force. I believe that is a Combat Walker, is more or less the name of it. And then these walkers on the right, Assault Walkers I think they're called, come in multiple different sculpts. In fact, they updated the Light Walker as well here, where they were saying that instead of having such an action pose, they also wanted to have one that was more like it was aiming. And these all have different weapon options. Lots of weapon options. We also have some vehicles here as well, with different weapon options up top. Oshouna Minis has put out this image of the March release. I believe the fella on the right is called a Leviathan. Papsicles we saw a lot of in the preview video, but it's worth always taking a look again. Helicopter Pilot and Assimilating Extra Lifeform Organism Imitator 1. It's a mouthful. Yeah, these are some weird experiments, Papsicles. Not exactly what I'm looking for. I think they do have a free mini that's available if you want to get advantage of it, and that is the Necromorph Leaper 1. I did not put the moniker with it here, but I believe that was the same miniature that they were putting out for free. Wow, those are some really weird guys. Here we have the Gunner Bro 1. I was told this is actually from a video game, Alien Isolation, so thanks for that. And then there's these guys. Now, Papsicles, I don't really care about the previous stuff personally, but these guys, Sapient Humanoid, Low-Ranked Templar. Yeah, we're going to have to hurry this video up. I forgot to, I need to back Papsicles this month. For the Cyberpunk release, because they do have a couple of tiers, we have Cybermecha, as well as the Human Demon Cyber Agent, the Humanoid Amphibious Man, which is Hellboy's companion, Abe Sapien. No, that's not right. something like that. The name escapes me. Piper Makes. This is the Fishmech Reruns Cuddlegeist frame. And then we have this release, so there's a lot going on here, which is typical of Piper Makes, because they're all about options. And these void frames, I believe is what they're referring to them as, yes, base class void frames, can be assembled in many different ways. Print Minis has put out the Varos Sin High-Tech Gang. As well as some Outpost quads from the Iron Brawlers. We have a Beast Nomad with Rock Saws. For their second release of the month, they have put out the Zone Selvik Industrial Platforms. This is a modular build kit. It's also compatible with the Grave Borer drill kit, which looks very similar to the one I got from Corvus Games. Here we have Grellin Biggs, Stubkin Slopper, and I love the fact how he's looking at the pot as in, get back in there. And the Overseer from the Flesh Guild. Print and Paint Miniatures this month. I think this is more of a fantasy release, but it's that weird gray steampunk that the crossover, so we'll put it in here. This is the Artificer's Wheel. Now, while the barrel golem guy on the right doesn't look too futuristic, these guys do. And here's a bust of the Gnome Mecha. Printerra Studio has the Silent Shogun, the Althea Crawler, the Bombing Troops, the Silent Shogunate all assembled, some explosion effects. Those would be pretty good general purpose. The Silent Mages, as well as some ground bases. Here we see a Heavy Fea Hagen. And over on the right again, we see some more bases with Mage Daz. And here we see a Silent Shrine on the left as well. Here we have some Althea box executors and some Silent Totems too. Pretty full release from Printerra. Project Mobius is doing the Shin Edo, cyberpunk / Japanese inspired little village house setup here. Comes with several different options for the flooring and so forth. Here we have a gate and wall. Looks like we might have a few vending machines maybe. As well as a spacecraft, the Sasori. Red Pilgrim Miniatures has the Oathbreakers Bloodseekers. Looks like he was successful in the hunt. The shoes, or I guess shoes isn't the right word, the boots for these guys are pretty intense. Red Makers and Adeptus Miniatures has put out part 1 for the month of March. Let's take a look. Here we have the Sunscorch Regiment Imperial Guard. Apparently only this unit consists of separate parts. Here we have the Kill Squad Mercenary Syndicate. About 10 different miniatures here. These do come in several parts. I'm a sucker for heavy weapons. I think it goes back to that scene in Predator. You also have some females as part of this kill squad. Who's a good boy? You have Jungle Fighters Command Squad of the Imperial Force. These come in like 2 alternative poses of each of these 4 miniatures. If you watch carefully here, we're not going to look at every single one, but they also come with some different weapon options as well. And then Jungle Fighters, the Officer of the Imperial Force as well. Again, he comes with a few different weapon options, as you can see here, I think. RNE Studio has a couple of different tiers depending on where and how you back them. Here we see Blizzard Volume 6. Mostly Warcraft, but we do have a couple of sculpts of Kerrigan. I believe both of those are Kerrigan. I'm a bit behind on my StarCraft lore. G.I. Joe. I was not expecting this. I believe that's Lady J, and a couple of these I'm not 100% on. It looks like Tunnel Rat. Cannot remember the name and the guy in the middle, and the one on the bottom is what, Shockwave, I think, or something like that. Here we have Spy X Family, so specific anime. And then if you back at the Champion tier, which I think is on my mini factory, don't quote me there, you get these 5 Marvel inspired minis. Pretty sure that's Quicksilver and Red Witch. Scarlet Witch, excuse me. Wow. Ultron in the middle, I believe. Vision in the bottom right. And maybe Agatha? I'm not sure. RPG Figures is put out the T1 Combat Automaton. Relentless and iconic robotic soldier. Perfect for bolstering your sci-fi armies. Sir Nicholas Miniatures has Knights of Hell kit. I think these tend to be more fantasy, but there's a few guns in here, so we'll put them in here just in case. And all the different ways you can put these models together. Skullforge Studio has Elite Troopers, the Python Syndicate, and Kumagen Raiders. A Pioneer Mulecraft as well. Soldiers of Humankind has this small preview. It said the cargo ship was making its way toward a new world when the fleet's astropath received a message. Fleet lay dormant, drifting close. A fleet of soldiers who had lost their homeworld, and they were taken in. SolGood Studios put out this preview of Ratsar the Etten Were-Rat Monster. And wow, that is something. Let's just say that. Soulforge Studios has the PMSC Battleship. Notice it comes with a couple of different weapon options. Weapons out or not. Station Forge has Scavengers Scorchers. There's also the Orca's Pirate. Notice he comes with a couple of different heads and, of course, weapon options. So there he kind of shows all the different options, as well as what he looks like from behind. And then we have the Grimdark Rocketeers. I'll say the variety of the rockets here is amazing. They have really represented just about any look you probably could think of to want. Traders Galaxy Miniatures and Games put out this preview that we looked at before, Firehouse Rock. As well as this is their, I think, normal like 28-32 millimeter release, Outbreak at Gulag 13. 30 millimeter range, excuse me. And then we have this retro robot as well. Trident Studio has put out their March release. A couple of iconic characters here. We have Airwalker, who I personally am not familiar with, but Bishop. Bishop has always been a big part of the X-Men. Captain America Rivals. Danny Moonstar Rivals. Iron Fist. Mangog. Wolverine Rivals, and Adam Warlock. Always an impressive release from Trident every month. Txarli Factory has these, what seem to be ruined Eldar battle tanks, hover tanks. Good scatter terrain to put around the battlefield and show what may have come before. Unit 9 has the RED. Are you ready? And no, it's not Retired and Extremely Dangerous. It's the Riot Enforcement Division. No matter the cost, they will restore order. Here we have the unit Bomb Disposal. Here we have the Praetor vehicle. Here we have the RED unit Officer. We have some sniffer dogs. Well, cyber dogs, what have you. Here we have some RED unit operators. And some police barriers, along with some gaming mats that you can print off. So all of that is available with Unit 9 for the month of March. Vae Victis Miniatures is mostly a fantasy release, but for their Vae Victis release this month, I thought it was pertinent to put it in SciFi, so I did want to show this to you. They usually like to release a pinup style model, not necessarily not safe for work, but I thought it was important to put in the SciFi this month. Velrock has put out their release, or the first look of it at least. This SciFi release is a little bit more on the steampunk side of things, which is not a bad thing. Vermillion Miniatures has the Capital Marauders. Was it about 9 miniatures there? And a closer look at a few of these. Wargames Atlantic has the Great War Casualties. These guys have some detail. They've been there a while. We also have some general accoutrements. These are the trench bases, 25mm round. For death fields, we have the SNAC, stands for Sales, Nutrition, Automated Concessions Kiosk Robot. Also for death fields, we have the Naglunk Team Jump Squad. These are modular as well. For Imperial Conquest, we have the 1888 Korean Infantry. For World Ablaze, we have a female Soviet patrol, 1941 to 43. And for death fields, they have these SciFi civilian spectators. So these are people that you just put over to the side of your death fields, and they're up in the stands cheering on or jeering on the contestants. Wargame Exclusive. I actually have a free trial to them this month. I wonder if you do too. So I'm very interested to check out what they have. Here we have the Orc Mad Riders Youths with Shooters. Guess they've got something to prove. And then this is the $1 set, and I like the variety here, as well as the St. Patrick's theme. I think this would be a different way of the theme of the Treasure Goblin, where the pot of gold is automated and moves on its own. That's just a cool idea. Well, that seems to be our March review number 1 for the month of March for SciFi releases. Thanks for watching. Thank you mostly for your patience, and I'll see you again soon.